Okay, so we're back with part 2 now. So we're just continuing on from that Queen 10 hand. I'll just scroll this across. And we're just going to skip through these a little quicker because we're taking a lot of time. So we open here and he just clicks it back. I'm probably flatting here.
Yeah, I'm flatting, but I'm not particularly happy about it.
Definitely
now
know that yeah. And check fold.
Just not having a part of it.
That's fine.
Probably defending here. Or 3-betting. I'm not folding.
Yeah, unless he was like some sort of 7-6 or something.
If there's nitty reads, then it's fine. You can fold like 9s there and be fine.
Yeah.
But
so I just scoped the guy and he's up $8,000, but has an ROI of minus 17. Okay, so he's a losing player who just banked something like worth 8. Must be nice. He just banked something worth 8.5k.
That's where he's winning.
How deep are we? 40 bigs. Yeah, whatever. This spot here's kind of unimportant, really. I mean, if you fold, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world if you flat or 3-bet either, really. And that's fine. It's a perfect board to c-bet. I'm not sure why we're not.
We don't really, bottom pair's not huge. To make that hand profitable, we need to be able to garner fold equity.
Yeah.
We're not going to be profitable bluff catching with 5s here.
No, because all we're doing is if we hit bottom pair here, it seems like with bottom pair you kind of go into check call get to showdown mode, and all that does is allow shit
really face up.
Yeah, and it just allows them to play perfectly against you because they're just going to value get one
really
or two
thin and remove all their bluffs when you view check back.
Yep. And see that's a pretty good run out for us in terms of bluff catching.
And that's one of the best.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that, and he's still well, he played that really slow too, but still, I think I still like bet folding on there on the flop.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, it's fine. And we get 3-bet, and he's got 30. Bit of what's that? 33.
You're doing maths because you don't back yourself.
And it's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
No, it's not deep enough to set mine, and that sizing's just not rig-like at all.
This is pretty big too, yeah.
2.5 up, please.
Even 3,600 would be fine.
I don't like minning it because I don't want to get... Oh, actually...
Just over min,
With, yeah, I'm in stack and Nirvana stack. I make it downsize it a bit just so they have room to jam it. But 3x is just, it's not ever light. So it doesn't get action very easy. Pretty easy fold given how tight they've been playing.
I kind of like a call here, really.
No, I was talking about the last hand. I was thinking, we could 4-bet fold there, but neither of them have shown any ability to or sizing towards being competent and aggressive, so it's not really a good spot.
What do you think about sticking 8 bigs in here?
Oh yeah, just jamming them.
Yep.
Well, effectively calling.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy call, really. We would have lost, but whatever.
Would we have lost?
Yeah, he hit 2-pair on the river.
Oh, gross.
10-8.
But that's okay.
9-4 opens fine, given that these guys seem to be really bad and never playing back.
See, all your error is 2.5, all of your value is 3, which I'm sure is fine if you because being balanced isn't the end of the world, isn't the big thing, but
it's okay to play exploitably when they're not capable of picking up on it.
Yeah, for sure. When they've got when they're playing a strategy that's away from Nash, we can play an exploitable strategy to take advantage of their tendencies.
Yeah.
However, our sizing for value is such that it becomes extremely hard to flat, and because of that, it makes it extremely hard to bluff as well.
I agree.
The average player is going to call more than he's going to bluff raise. So we want to make it a sizing where they just call pretty wise.
Yeah, I mean, a realistic, exploitable adjustment is almost to go the other way, where you make it smaller with your value hands. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, and I think it can only work in really, really soft tournaments, which this seems to be, really. But I think, in general, sticking to similar sizing is
it's
better.
Just like, when the stacks are shallow as well, it creates awkward SPRs. The other hand where we 3x'd, there were 2 stacks behind that effectively had, twice our 3-bet, so they have no fold equity.
Yeah.
So, they're not going to be able to stick it in. Whereas if we make it smaller, we leave them room to, tool out with, weaker aces, small pairs and stuff, which might not be the greatest thing we have ace-queen, but against our range, that's exactly what we want. When we're 3-betting, a really polarized range, we give enough folds, and if people tool out behind us, then that's great, because our polarized range crushes them when we call.
Yep, I agree. Alright, so ace-7, that's fine.
Yeah, fine, raise folding. Now we're flatting. And what's his effective stat?
He's only got 14 bigs, 16. So, I'm not sure why we're not raising getting it in here.
I'm just looking, and there's no stacks behind that are really going to ship it on us.
I mean, no. That we can't call off. I mean, this guy here, Jojo Poker, and he's probably the only one that's going to make it really tough if he ships, but the other ones we kind of have to easy call off, and then these other guys are really we can fold against if they 4-bet. So I'm just making it 4,500 and calling any of the shorties.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely calling that, though. Oh, that's... Wow, what do we get now? So
this is gross, because most of the time, how equally against their ranges, just gets crushed 3-way, because neither of their ranges are capped. So
yeah,
both of them, there's twice the chance that we're up against something bigger, even with blockers.
So we need 29% equity here.
Yeah, but we're almost always up against.
I wonder if we can
pair.
stove a range here. So for Steve Zolotow, we give him do we give him 9s plus here? You reckon?
Throw 8s in.
And ace king, ace queen.
Yeah, throw ace jack suited in.
Ace jack suited.
Just because the tool factor in this tournament's relatively high.
And we can give Grom a slightly wider range than that, I think, because of the fact that he's isolating us.
Yeah, and he's shorter.
Yeah, so
so you can put smaller pairs in there as well.
Say 6s and 5s, and we'll put king, queen, ace 10, ace king, ace jack.
Ace 10 off.
Yep, something like that. Maybe king jack suited, king queen off.
Yeah, put king queen off, take king jack suited out.
Okay, alright, so we'll do that, and then we'll give ourselves, what do we have? Ace. Oops. Alrighty. Sorry, I've got to do Monte Carlo.
Yeah, see, we're a dog because...
See, we're getting 24% here, and we need from our pot odds to be 29%. So, yeah, it's probably a close fold unless we have some reads that one of these guys is just going to be getting it in a fair bit.
And the thing is, we gave them relatively wide ranges, They're not widening those ranges. If they're widening those ranges, they're not widening them in a way that benefits us. They're just going to have more smaller pairs.
Yeah, which
doesn't benefit us greatly unless they both have them. And then we remove king queen, and some like hands that we dominate, and suddenly we're versing, and like ace jack eight, like if we remove ace 10 from his raise call range and ace jack from his raise call range, it suddenly becomes a situation where we're hoping to be flipping or drawing to 3 outs.
Yeah, and even if we put like ace 9 and ace 8 and king jack in there too, we're only going to maybe get up to say 33% or something.
Yeah, and we're always drawing to like five outs.
Yeah. Okay, so ace jack, ace queen. And I think that's a good fold after.
Yeah.
Oh, what must be nice. Let's fold. And yeah, so once again, it seems like whenever you hit the board, you just go into must get to showdown mode. This is another spot where I pretty much like betting.
I like betting for value here.
Yeah, so do I.
Flush draws call, a 4 will call. This guy's pretty stationary.
Lower pairs will call.
There's a ton of good turn cards for us as well. We can turn equity and check back, and and there's a ton of turn cards we don't really want to see, like spades.
That's a really bad river, and I think we just check back. See, this is turning our hand into a bluff now, I think.
Hoping to fold the 10, but I don't think a 10's folding given the way we play it.
I don't think they are either. I mean, I like just checking back.
The only viable value hand we rep is like ridiculously passive flush draws and like
queen jack, queen jack, and queen 10. Yeah,
even queen jack and queen jack probably bets because we only check back our mate hands.
Yeah, well, that's true too.
The only hands we can be going for value on the river with is like queen 10, queen 9.
Yeah, I think we need to. I think you need to stop betting like some hands where they have. You've hit the board, but it's not a huge amount of multi-street. You can't stand multi-street sort of action. I think taking control is better in general.
And it's a situation where we're trying to get to showdown, but we're like allowing them to not. That we're pretty much allowing them to realize the equity for free, whereas we could be raising or betting for value, and worse hands will call. And there's enough worse hands in his range that we can bet for value versus calling range. Plus, then we pick up the equity of the dead money when he folds random cards that would outdraw us. Like, there's nothing wrong with folding out like 28% equity.
Yeah. So 5-4 here. I don't like this either. I think something like 7-8 7-8 suited would be fine, but
I also don't particularly love it because we're going after the gun and we have a really active image, and we've just been.
Not surprised if we don't get 4-bet here. Yep. So we're opening every second hand basically at the moment, which is okay, but you just got to sort of adjust to your image a little bit, and that means
so like people are 4-betting us wider with a depolarized range, so we can like 3-bet call a wider value range and remove drastically reduce our bluff frequency.
Yeah.
Pre-flop.
Yeah, so something like Ace Jack becomes something that you can open and then call their 3-bet for value.
Yeah.
And we just keep pounding away here. This is a good bet. I like this one. This is what we've been saying beforehand, I think. And that's fine. Like, this is a hand where you're not going to get much more than one street of value anyway. So if you take it down, he gives up his equity share in the pot where he might have a couple of overs or something.
Yeah, and it's not a spot where he's just going to... Like, these players aren't floating and bluffing us.
Yeah.
Like, your line would be... Your standard line seems to assume that...
It's almost a bluff-catchy line every time, yeah.
Like, it's just like, if I check here, I've got bottom pairing, I can just call 3 streets.
Yeah.
Which isn't going to be profitable, it's just value telling yourself.
Yep. Once again, this is a bit too light, given our image, because we're going to have to fold here again. I think...
Yeah, we haven't really talked about it, but the soft spots in the table are on your direct left. So, like, we should drastically open our late position range and just tighten up pre, because the problems we're having from early position is where people are coming after us.
Yeah.
where the aggros are getting involved. We just sit there and we just target Grom and Darmouth and we just grind them down, take the chips. So you take open spots like this. Don't love the 3-bet, given we've 3-bet folded just before, and...
Yeah, see, there's all these hands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least in the last 10 hands, where we've either 3-bet or been aggressive and lost the pot. So usually in this spot, I just like, even though we do have a huge stack and we're going okay, I just like making it so if I lose a couple of pots in a row, that the next one kind of counts, if that makes sense, so that it just reestablishes your image. It's not like you're just not completely
off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so just like when people are not believing us and stuff, I actually just prefer like when people aren't going to fold much, just flatting a wider range and playing in position post flop rather than just 3-bet folding.
It seems like a lot of our troubles have been out of position, as you said, when we've been opening from earlier position and just getting flattered from behind. I don't mind the double barrel here, but it needs to be smaller, I think. What was our flop bet? A flop bet's okay in terms of sizing, but I think we can make this 6.5k and do the same job.
Yeah, for sure. Even smaller, really.
Yeah. See, now we nearly have to call off here, which really sucks. We're getting like 4 to 1.
I don't know if we can call off because his jamming range is like so many tens that we're virtually drawing Ds. Like, no, we've still got
20% is nearly our 6-outer.
Yeah.
It's not far off. Sorry, our 8-outer for our... So if we...
Yeah, I suppose we have to call. I'd rather...
Like, if we just put a random jack in his range, or like Queen Jack, say, or something like that, then I think that becomes a call.
What? Yeah.
But once again, then his... On the other hand, we may not have 8 outs. We might only have 7.
I don't really love c-betting the flop, to be honest. Because that's not a flop that like we're going to fold much. Especially if it's him. I'd rather just check and let him kind of turn his face up, because he'll check back all his air. Because he's not bluffing. So he's just going to check back his air and bet his value. So I'd like rather delayed here. Because there's a lot of good turn cards for us.
Yeah, delayed c-bet is a good option on this board.
Because like fives through 9s aren't folding. Jack 10's not folding. Ovo cards with an ace in them probably don't fold. And they don't fold that often. And
Pretty
like there's
sure
a lot
Jack
of
10's never folding on this board, Tom. You said Jack 10.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Jack Queen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like 12:30 here. Give me a break.
Yeah, so like 5s and 6s now think, oh, yeah, I'll just fold. Whereas exactly. On the flop, they call. See, and now, because we've bet so big here, we're kind of, we've talked ourselves into calling off here. So I think you're right. I think delayed c-bet is fine.
It's just really easy against passive opponents to just check and let them turn their range face up.
Yeah.
See, whereas we virtually never check out of position, and we always check in position.
Yeah.
Which, that's a spot where I'll just check. Let him, It's the same concept as, like, we float people that barrel their whole range on the flop and only barrel value on the turn.
Yeah.
We float them because they turn their range face up. He's not going to bet. He's not going to just randomly bet Jack Queen there. Or, like, 5s, He's just going to check them. And the things he is betting, he's not folding.
Yeah.
And we have fuck all equity against, so we can just let it go.
So that 3-10 was pretty standard. I don't think we need to really talk about that. And he's got, what?
Given that...
25 bigs.
Given that... I'd probably scope him. Can you scope him now?
I sure can.
If he's good at all, given his sizing, I'd probably just pile it here.
Yeah, I think we get called off with, like, pretty light in terms of ace-9, even, given our image.
I don't know if ace-9 calls. Ace-10 is definitely calling and stuff. But I think he's also just 3-betting random air and, like, smaller pairs and stuff.
Come on, Sharkscape.
That we can just pile in, if he's any good, because his sizing is really small.
Alright, it's Oh, here we go. So he is average stake 36, down 5k. So he's bad. So I probably fold, given that.
Yeah, folding's fine then.
Yeah. And we pick up ace king, and it's still the easiest call in the world. And
running gets nice.
Yeah. So we're back up to where we were before, and we get a table change, and we're going to try and destroy this table too.
C-bet.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it's not that many hands that connect, and there's a few decent turn cards for us. But like this flop's a bit like different from like a 9-8x flop, in that like broadways and like Jack 10 and like Queen Jack and stuff, like the obvious stuff in his flathing range, have no equity.
Mm.
Like they're not floating on a backdoor gutter, you know?
Yeah. Let's fold. Given that this is a new table, I don't mind tightening up a little bit early on, just to, and especially because the last hand we played there was a bet, a raise, and a ship on that turn, so and then a fold. So we can probably
infer that they're decent, or at least very aggressive.
At least aggressive. So I probably just like tightening up and just seeing what happens. I mean, this is we're going to have to call.
At least tighten up our early.
See, once again, this guy here, that's like the third time in 5 hands that he's made something really aggressive. So I would be really tightening up now and just waiting for him, waiting for a value hand against him, or waiting till we're playing at least in positions so we can see whether he's... That's fine. See, now if we wanted to... Oh, we moved table again. I was going to talk about how if this guy was in the big blind or the small blind, then it's a better spot to open, just because it might make him less likely to
want to play pots out of position.
Yeah.
Although it seems like he just wants to get it and pray.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. A lot of the time we're opening just because we want to open, rather than like with any kind of plan. Like,
yeah,
if you're opening wide because the table's really tight and you can steal, then we should be opening heaps from like early position. And if there's fish behind us that are flathing super wide, we should be opening like a playable value range from early position.
Yeah.
Whereas we're pretty much opening our butt and cut off range from like all positions, which is just too wide.
Yeah, and I think it means that you should be cutting all bluffs out of your opening range, especially from early position, but you can open more things for value. So things like King Jack become an open for value. Like an easy open for value because they're flatting King 8 suited and things like that.
Yeah, and Jack 9,
but
Jack 4.
But you remove the 4-5 off out of your opening range because it just doesn't play well against... Because they're flatting so often, it just doesn't play well against that.
The hands that require the implied odds and pre-flop fold equity to be profitable.
Yeah. So how deep are we here? We're pretty deep. And he's made it 4x.
Set mine all day.
I think that's a great set mine spot because his 4x opening range is probably going to be strong.
Yeah, and 4xing just really discourages anyone else from shipping in.
Yeah. So
like,
we're
normally
probably going to get paid if we get it here. Yes, he's just bombed it. So that would have been so awesome if that was ace-6-4, because we're just getting his whole stack. Okay, so...
Question.
Yeah.
What are you doing if you go back to that hand?
Which one?
Kind of off topic. The 4s.
Yeah.
What are you doing on an ace-king 4 flop?
And he leads out 10k.
Yeah.
Well,
like, are you just getting it in and hoping he has ace-king?
So if he has 10k and we flat, then the turn becomes 32 and he has 51 left. Would he barrel queen? If the answer is probably yes, then I would just flat, and then flat turn, and then, then he's got an SPR 1 on the river, and he's probably going to shove. So it's probably not a bad... If it's ace king 4, it's probably not a bad spot to slow play, depending on how aggressive you think he is. And given that if he's probably bet folding like ace 10 if you raise it on an ace king 4. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I'm all in favour of flat.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how much the flop has to smack his range before you consider just folding.
I think dry ace flops are the best. So where it's like ace low card.
Yeah.
Where he could conceivably put you on some lower ace and just be like, whatever, I
go off.
Yeah. Alright, so we open ace queen under the gun. We get 2 flutters. And then we just get a jam. Yeah.
The old stop and go.
Oh wow, and he gets called off. That's obviously a fold now. Yeah, with the 10-6. Well played, sir. Okay, open 6s is fine. We get flattered and squeezed quite a lot. I think it's just
what's his massive bet.
Yeah.
It's over 4x.
And we don't have odds to flat, given that I mean Chris Wars might come along, but he's just as liable to shove too.
It's just spewy. We're just cutting off a massive chunk of our stack for no reason.
Yep. So
and he's never light, so we just fold.
Folding's fine.
And he probably shows like kings or ace king.
Yeah. So we open again and we get 3 bet. And I think flatting's fine here, given that we're so deep.
Yeah, it depends on the stats. Like if he's 3-betting so wide that like his range, we're not going to get paid, I'd much rather 4-bet fold.
Yeah, that's true.
Just turn it to a bluff.
Yep.
But presuming his 3-betting range is strong enough that we can set mine and actually get paid, then that's fine.
Yeah, and now given that he's 3-bet us again here, we can probably assume not. So this might be a decent spot for a 4-bet.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I like 4-betting here, especially given the dynamic now.
Probably 4-bet and then 6-bet. Really. He's 3-bet like 3 of the last 4 hands.
Apparently 274 is where the bubble starts, he says. But it could be in right now. But, I mean, it's a sick way to punt off, though, if you're 6-betting. But even 4-bet fold is fine. I mean, if he wants to...
Yeah, well, I don't like... If we're going to open raise fold to him, then we need to, cut down the number of hands in our range that we are raise folding.
Yeah, but 4-bet folding is it's still different to raise folding.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I was just like, you can look at the sizing, because given stacks, he's probably flatting a lot of his value range and position rather than 5-betting.
Yeah.
It's like he's flatting the nutty stuff. So it's just whether or not he's like 5-bet calling off queens or what.
Wow, this is pretty interesting. Oh, shit.
Wait, so
we got an open from under the gun. 3-bet under the gun +1 from a pretty decent stack. What's that? 20 or 30 bigs nearly.
I think this is a fold pre.
I think so too.
Because, I think this is a fold pre if we didn't see the guy jam. And this is a fold pre because we've got the gun open, who's active admittedly.
Yeah, so even here it's a fold. You reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Horny Pony's range is really tight, and the range that Mesmerize is going to get into. So I was like, we can't get Ace King in here for value. We're either betting because we're betting on having equity versus some of his range when he calls, or we're betting because we never expect calls.
Yeah. So badabing's written a note on this hand as well, and he's just written suicide, fold, fold, fold. So yeah. I'm guessing he ships it in here. And wow, these two guys fold, which is interesting. So
lucky that you didn't get snapped off by aces there.
Yeah. this has to be like tens and ace queen or something. I mean, they might even fold queens.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm horny pony here, I might even fold queens. Given
he won't though.
No,
because if you're horny pony, you don't 3x it.
No, you're right, but
so 3x's don't fold. So he's calling with queens. He's folding jacks.
Yeah,
he's folding ace queen, ace king maybe. He might fold ace queen, ace king.
Yeah. So I mean, given that we just lost half our stack, folding here is okay. I think normally it'd be an open.
It's also just good because we're probably a bit tilted and we don't want to...
We're probably super steamed right now, so if they
throw us, we're
just like...
No, it's just best just to tighten your range and just make your decisions really easy so you can't do anything stupid.
Yeah. Even here, I'd probably fold pre. Just give yourself an orbit off. You've still got a decent stack. There's just no need to get right back into it, really.
Yeah. As played, I'm probably shipping on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he's 3-betting us every time we open. We can't open to fold to him. This is literally like the fifth hand, fifth hand he's 3-bet us.
Yeah, so right.
Last current opens.
This would be pretty, you'd be pretty steamed right now, I think. So I think just folding pre is best. Jack 2, ace 9, it's fine. Yeah, and I like that you're folding this now. I mean, that was a snap open for you when you had your huge stack, but now, given that we've only got half our
stack sizes,
yeah, I think that's good. It's fine. Yep, got open there. That's good. Pick up ace king. For some reason they're deciding not to play with us anymore. I
don't mind flatting because Mesmerize is squeezing so often.
Yeah, that's actually a really good spot, and Horny Pony and Lynx can both shove on us as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks quite even this guy Leo might. I mean, it's starting to get a little bit big, but he could still even still only 22 bigs. He could conceivably just rip it.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to see what they're check calling with, so I don't mind checking back and letting them bluff turn river.
Yeah, you're right. Like, why isn't he c-betting here? So that's either
like he could have jacks and tens, but if he's not c-betting, he's checking to fold, and there's like six cards in the deck that suck on the turn.
Yeah, so to check there, you're either super nutted and you've got like you've got like queens, and or you've got nines and tens. You're not doing it with ace queen. You're betting for value with ace queen. So you might do it with nines, tens, jacks, and just hope to get to showdown or maybe get a street of thin value later. So you're right. I think checking back is good. And now he's bet super small. So
I just have to raise it.
Yeah.
Not letting him bet that small.
Raise for value. Make it like
I hate the idea of letting people blocker us here with min bets, because
you may as well just treat that as a check, in my opinion, and just go for make it 4,400.
I always tend to go slightly smaller when someone does this, just because their range is so weak, and I'm happy to let them tool out when I've got a value range. So I think that's too big.
I like the raise, but I agree. I think it's too big. I think like 4K, 4.5K is fine.
Yeah.
We do get a call though, so it probably is something like nines, tens, jacks here, I think.
There is the option of like jack, queen, king, jack. Jack, queen, king, queen, queen, 10 type hands.
So now that he's checked again, I think we definitely should go for
value, and it's going to be relatively thin, so I'd be going like 8, but somewhere between 8 and 10k.
Yep. I was going to say 8.5, so... Yeah, so you seem to be really polarising your range in spots where your range isn't that polarised.
The only thing we can call by here is like rivered sixes when you decided to play them really weirdly, queens, and like random like stubborn jacks that are just playing horribly. Like, but jacks don't call often.
Yeah.
Like
the only thing you're getting value here is a weirdly played queen, I think.
But even then, I don't think a weirdly played queen calls this river very often.
Yeah.
I think most of the time we get called by like eights, queens, sixes, aces. Yeah. Did he fold river, I assume?
Ah, yeah, it was a fold river. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so we fold a few hands and then we pick up ace 8 and we get flattered. And c-bet's fine. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're in the... This is about where we get on the bubble. So it looks like we fold a few hands here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
So what hand was the bubble?
He says hands 274 to 3xx. I think that was the bubble face. So it's just getting down, being close to the bubble here now. So given that this is a major and it was €100, there's probably a fair few people that have sat it in here. So
people that are sweating the bones. So
yeah.
I'd just be opening my opening range and opening my 3-betting range.
Yeah, this is a good spot to be
open.
Yeah, definitely open here.
Opening and 4-bet jamming if Mesmerize comes after us.
Yeah, I think that's a decent 3-bet spot too. I think folding's fine. See, we were opening this before, and I think this is even a better spot to be opening now. I mean, we are getting shortish, so folding's fine.
I'm not opening because of horny ponies stack size.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Sorry, I didn't see that. You're right. That's fine. Looks like we might.
Yeah, and see, if we're taking some of those earlier steals, we would have pushed our stack up above 20 big blinds if we were successful, which makes it way easier. I'm shipping here if it gets folded to us.
Yeah. Is this a new? I think this is a new table, so maybe.
It's approaching the bubble, and we got 20 bigs and ace 10.
Yeah. I'm happy with shipping. Same here, opening there.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely opening there.
Definitely opening that.
Could be
okay, we're folding that if we'd opened the last two hands, but given we didn't, like considering we just folded that button and cut off, I'd be opening those hands.
Yeah.
Fine with folding that.
Fold.
Go back.
This one.
What's your squeeze range here?
Yeah, you could probably do it pretty wide.
Not king 6 wide, I don't think. But how wide are you going?
Like suited blockers, like
all pairs,
ace X, all pairs, like queen jack maybe, king queen, things like that. Things where you could easily get into a flip situation.
Like 9-10 suited.
Yeah.
Yeah, jack 10 suited.
9-10 might be a little bit low because they might not call off with 8s. But something like king queen, they're calling with 10s and jacks, so you can...
Yeah, for sure. I'm just trying to find the bottom of the range.
Yeah, I reckon queen jack is probably the bottom, and maybe like ace 8 suited or something like that.
Yeah, jack 10 suited is good because it's very rarely dominated by overcards.
Yeah.
Whereas king queen's dominated a lot more by overcards, so I think that kind of offsets it.
Yeah, that's true. So you can probably add jack 10 in there too. Yeah, that's a fold.
Yeah, now we've folded down to like 11.5 bigs.
So bigs. Now this would be.
We don't have fold equity.
If we had 18 bigs, this is a good re-steal spot, but
especially now. But no.
Yeah.
We don't have any fold equity. Open jamming if it gets to us.
Disregarding
probably
that,
still,
I'm probably doing it still.
Yeah, I'm just getting that in.
Yeah, that's good. And we lose, but whatever.
Yeah, his range is ridiculous there.
Yeah, have to fold now because we're now under 10 bigs, so now it's really we're handcuffed ourselves. And it
was just that large folding session.
Yeah.
Kind of put us in a bad spot.
Although
jamming.
To be fair, it was probably the ace king hand that put us down to this. Yeah, that's fine.
Especially on the bubble.
Yeah. Oops. I'm shipping there too. 10.
It's close-ish. Especially, like, we don't know when the bubble bursts. If the bubbles burst, I'm folding.
Yeah.
Just because we can no longer expect, like, ace-9, ace-10 behind to fold.
Yeah, it's probably...
Or, like, heaps of pairs.
It's probably close to busted by now, so you're right. Oh, this is going in regardless of what happens. Oh, wow. Maybe not.
Seeing the results is unfortunate, but...
Yeah. It's tough. I was expecting just one of these guys.
We've got like 6.5 bigs. I think we have to call off.
Yeah.
And hope we're against an underpair and overcards and win the flip.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Like, we can fold 6s there. 5s. 8s and 9s are too strong. 7s are too strong. I reckon.
It's probably close to the bottom of my calling range, but I think calling is good. And we would have lost, so all good.
Don't be that guy.
And this is getting it in. Yep. Oh, awesome. That's a better way to do it.
Yeah, it always helps.
Alright, so ace queen with 60, 7,
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm okay with opening here.
Like, so you would just open rather than jam?
I'm fine with either. It depends how fishy the people are behind.
Yeah, I agree.
And how likely they are to call.
That's pretty much my... If this is an aggressive table and I'm going to get jammed on, I open this every time. If these guys are all fishers and they're going to be like stacking off with ace 10, so you may as well just stick it in. And 7s, and we get there on the river.
Just take that.
This is probably an open now that we've got a pretty decent stack again.
35 bigs.
Yeah. What do we have there? Yeah, that's fine.
Folding's fine. Folding's fine.
Yeah, that's super standard.
You just calling me? I'm probably ISOing.
Do you think Sick Kid is ever like shoving really wide?
Sorry, how many bigs is he at? I'm having trouble reading on your screen.
He's got
like less than 10.
Yeah, he's only got 7.
He is probably jamming worse. Like, if we flat there, he ships 8s and 7s on us. I would.
Do you flat aces here?
No, I'd ship a lot of hands.
Because it's kind of a cool spot to flat aces, really.
If you're a Sick Kid?
No, if you're us.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
So
yeah, I do.
If he puts aces in our range, then he probably doesn't ship super wide. He probably flats a lot of stuff, which can make it tough.
Like, post flop's going to be hell if he flats.
So
I'd rather jam and like... Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean... See, jamming really, really sucks when he just wakes up with a hand and just like snaps you off and you've had 35 bigs and you just destroyed.
Yeah, but cool folding sucks as well.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get pushed off the best hand a lot of the time.
But it sucks a lot more if it's say a 15 big blind shove and we have 35 rather than like 7.
Yeah.
I agree with ISOing more when they have more. I just don't think...
Yeah, that's a valid point. I agree.
Yeah. It looks like we go on a bit of a folding spree here again. But not before we win a nice pot. So I have a feeling this is getting down relatively deep now. We might only be, less than 7 or 8 tables.
Left, so.
Yeah.
Open that.
Yeah, I don't see why we're folding that. Especially now that we've got our newly found stack. These guys, I mean, he's only got 12 bigs and he can shove on us. He hasn't really shown that he can, that he's going to that much, so I think it's fine to open.
Generally, when someone doesn't change stack size in ages, it usually means that they don't know how to push fold, because when you're push folding, you either bust or increase your stack.
Yeah.
At some point.
Once again,
open.
Especially this is a new table now, so it's fine to open. Same. There's no shove stacks on.
Yeah. Like, if we were going to open as wide as we were earlier, which is probably too wide, in my opinion, I don't understand why we're suddenly tightening.
Yeah.
When, like,
sorry, this guy's got it. This guy's short, but there is a couple of shove stacks. Yeah, but
he's got what? He's got what, 5 bigs? We can just call him off.
Yeah. Sorry. And this guy, he's got 10 bigs, so we can nearly raise call against this guy, and it becomes sucky against this guy, but, like, he's the only one we have to worry about. P5, 5, 6, 3, 6, 5, 3.
Yeah, folds fine.
Yeah, it's probably pretty close to a call if it folds to us.
No, he's too early. His position's too early. Call off with King 3 there. Go back.
Well,
you've missed it now.
King 6. Yeah, I guess.
If he's under the gun, then I can see calling wider because he's desperate.
I agree.
He's still got 2 folds left before the blinds for them, so he's not shoving a super wide range.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. If he was under the gun, I think it makes it a call, but you're right. So what do we go to?
I still think even under the gun it's close just because of the damage it does to our stack. Like, it puts us under 20 if we lose, which is what we want to avoid. While we still have like post-flop playability and like pre-flop flexibility. I'd be raising him.
So we only have to call John. Sorry, that's 310, not 31. We don't have to call anybody, so it's an open.
That's an easy fold, though. That's very easy fold.
Yeah, it's fold because under the gun raise.
Yeah, see, now we're starting to whittle under 20 bigs again.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden we picked this hand when there was plenty of other wood spots, and under the gun steals don't really work anymore, in my opinion. Like, there was a period of time where everyone just went under the gun's range is so tight that you can't do anything and you just have to snap fold. But I think most people don't raise any differently from under the gun to, say, under the gun 2 anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
So the concept of an under the gun steal doesn't really work anymore, I don't think. But it does this time, so sucked in Benny.
Yeah, but just because a hand's successful some % of the time doesn't mean that it's successful enough to offset the downturn.
Yeah, I know. I was being a little bit facetious. Alright, so 6 bigs, 5.5 bigs. A7.
I saw him.
Yep.
Just rip it in.
Yep, I think it's fine. But we fold. That's a fold now. Pretty clear.
Raising. Raising, min raising pre.
Yeah, especially given the fact that we haven't been in shove mode yet. So it's not like we've shoved 5 hands in a row and then all of a sudden min raising. So it means that our min raise doesn't look face up. So I think min raising is fine, but we get a call and we double.
Win a flip,
which is all good. Gets 3.
Again, I'd be ISOing.
Yeah, so that's only 3 big blinds. So yeah, I'm definitely ISOing, and we do, which is nice. And that's cool.
And we turn the world, which is nice. Fine with folding after showing down a weak ace.
Yeah.
Fine with raise calling.
Kings. Okay, so what's our sizing here? Like, I'm making it like...
what's his effective stack? How many big blinds deep are we?
7, 14, 21, that's like 18 bigs. Sorry.
Is it 18 bigs?
No, sorry, it's 30 bigs. What am I... I'm so retarded today.
Kind of like flatting here, considering we haven't 3-bet at all.
Yeah, I mean, I rarely flat big pairs. It probably means that I'm not balanced enough, but I can't bring myself to do it. So I make it like...
I just flat here because I feel that our 3-bet is just going to get way more respect than we want with this particular hand. Whereas I think it's quite a good light spot.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't 3-bet once, and we've been open heaving, like, value hands.
Yeah.
The only hand we've shown down, we've played, like, a few hands in the last...
Yeah, we've only played, like, 5 hands in the last, like, 30 or something, so...
Yeah, and the hands we've shown down are, like, ace, king, and jacks.
Yeah.
So, like, this is looking nutty as hell, whereas if we can flat and he can just barrel into us.
Yep.
Or he can flop something inferior.
Or he can...
But he comes over the top.
Or he can 4-bet, so we can...
I think you have to pile.
Piling always looks stronger. I very rarely get in a situation, at least at my stakes, where 5-bet click it back is ever like light. It always seems to be nutted.
Yeah.
And piling seems to be weaker. I mean, I think the higher stakes you go, that changes considerably, but I think in general...
Because people pile when they don't want to call.
Yeah.
Is the idea. Like, people can induce as small as they like, but when people don't want to be bluffed and want to fold out all of the opponent's bluffs because they can't call, they pile.
Yeah. So people never do it, never click back really light, so I think piling is better here. I mean, this is a Sunday Major, so it probably means it plays more like a lower stakes tournament than a high stakes. But it works this time, and we have the same hand. Well, and we fade on the river, that would have been a sick beat.
He would have been sweating so hard.
Yeah. You would just be like, as soon as that club on the turn hit, you're just like, no, please no.
Blue wants a diamond, Spinny.
What did I say?
Club.
Oh.
Amateur.
I think my brain's fried at the moment.
Yeah. I'm fine with folding there.
Yeah, I think...
Obviously. We're not nearly deep enough to do anything.
No, I think this has all been pretty fine so far. We've only got 30 hands left, so we may as well just try and get it through in this... The vid's at...
In this part?
Yeah, the vid's at 54 minutes already, but we'll just keep going. Otherwise, we'll have like a 10-minute vid at the end.
Yeah. Never want to do that.
No. Alright.
Yeah, it's a decent spot. He's deep enough.
I'd probably make it slightly bigger. Depending on the dynamics, I would...
Given our stack, it kind of looks committing whatever size we take.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to flat us very often at all.
Yeah.
But then he just goes and does it.
See, I probably make it slightly bigger, like 42 here. I think it just looks slightly stronger because it's less than 2x here.
Oh, sorry, he didn't min raise. Yeah, no, I agree. I always do it more than 2x.
Yeah. Unless, the only time I'll ever go less than 2x is if there's some sort of dynamic happening where I know
my 4-bet sizing is usually slightly less than 2x, just because, the ranges become so ridiculously polarized that...
Yeah, you're right. It should go...
Your inducing and your bluffing size can be the same.
Yes.
Because you very rarely get flatted in 4, 5, 6-bet pots.
Yep. I saw a pot the other day where someone flatted a 7-bet with 9-7 off.
Oh, that's so gross.
They just went click, click,
click. As played, I C-bet this flop.
Yeah, I do too. You got to... Once you've 3-bet in a pot like that, you just got to rep it. And you can bet pretty small, like third pot, like 33k will get the job done here.
Yeah, see, this is making us really easy to play against because we 3-bet and fold all. We 3-bet and then give up all our air and bet all our value hands. So he can just float all of our 3-bets.
Yeah, and see now, we
don't rep much now because
what value range do we delay here?
Like A7.
Yeah. So
is the only hand in our value range.
Yeah. I mean, if we had ace queen, if we had
7-6.
If we had 7-6.
If we had 7s, 6s, queens.
If we had pairs under queens, we're probably checking again and trying to get the showdown. If we had over pairs, we would have bet the flop. If we had queen, we would have bet the flop.
So this is just full of air.
Yeah. And he's raised. And see, he's just known we're full of shit, I think.
We can probably pile there.
Yeah, I mean, we're repping thinner and thinner.
What's this range for checking back flop, min raising turn?
Probably not much. It's like he's decided that way. I might scope this guy too.
Yeah, mind you, I did this today. I decided someone was full of shit and jammed king high on him and snapped me off with ace high on a turn.
So this guy is a shark and he's $60 average stake, ROI 113, profit 26k. So
see, all of his value hands are flatting. He's not 3-betting raising to induce versus us.
Yeah, so
all his value hands are flatting.
He's min raising to own us here.
So ship it in.
Yeah.
And hate life when he calls with a high ace.
Yeah.
But expect him to fold most hands. Because we can be bluffing with smaller pairs here as well. So
that's trying to make the most of a shitty situation, though. I think c-betting the flop removes this.
Yeah, it makes everything really easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd rather bet 3-bet the turn than bet fold up.
Yeah. He had some notes on here. He said, catastrophic play, 3-bet open, under 30, big blind stack. But the guy had 100% fold to 3-bet, otherwise this move would be completely retarded. See, I don't mind the 3-bet. I think that was fine, to be honest.
3-bet's fine. It's just 3-betting from under 20 big blinds is fine because we do it with a polarized range. We shove the hands that we don't want to induce with, but we can't 3-bet fold like 9s and stuff that we want to get in for value, but don't want to induce 4-bets from a wider range with. And then we can raise call the top of 3-bet call the top of our range and 3-bet fold the bottom.
Yeah.
And by doing that, it gives us the ability to be light in situations where we go, I think he's light here, but like how many times do you hear, I think he's light here, but I want to have something better than 2-3 off?
Yeah.
To be able to shove on them.
Yeah.
You don't need to be shoving 20 bigs. You can 3-bet fold. It's like 3.5 bigs. It's fine.
Yeah.
22 bigs especially, you can 3-bet fold. It's just how the game works because, especially when people min open, it becomes harder when people 2.5, they effectively price you out 3-betting, 3-bet folding, and 3-betting when you're small. But
yeah, so I think a lot of those stack size rules don't get updated because the general, it's only really been in the last couple of years maybe where they've gone to sort of min opening just about everything. Whereas even I was reading the Razor's Edge the other day, and that's only from sort of 2010, and everything in that book is still 2.5xing, and then they write like an addendum at the end, basically saying that everything's like 2.2 and sometimes even min now, and it's even gone further than that since they've written that, and it's pretty much always min now. But it just goes to show that it's only been like not even 2 years to where it's changed from. So I think what happened is people changed their open sizes, but their rules for 3-betting is like, we can't 3-bet with less than 25 to 30 bigs. Well, you can now because people are opening smaller, so your 3-bets
and
are
you
only
can
like,
because people are not flatting as much.
Yeah.
Like people are 4-betting bluffs and they're 4-bet folding.
And your 3-bet's only like 4.1 bigs now, whereas if they're making it 2.5, it has to be 5.1 bigs or 5.5
and then you're
or something.
suddenly putting the quarter of your stack and it becomes awkward.
Yeah, so you're putting in a whole extra big blind in your 3-bet, which means that it has to be a lot higher stack.
And like when people say that you can't ever do something, as a general rule, when I find that people say that can only ever be for value, that's like the ideal spot to bluff.
Yeah.
So when people said you can only ever 3-bet for value, that's when people start 3-bet bluffing, and then with under 20 bigs. And then when people said, people are doing that, now you can 3-bet call the top of your range because people will shove over your bluffs.
Yeah.
With value hands and with air.
Well, and that's why on the forum recently I posted a thread about raise folding ranges, and I think that's a good example as well, where people say you should never raise fold a 15 big blind stack. Well, if they think that you should never be doing that, then that means their shoving range is going to be tighter because they're thinking you're doing it for value. So that means you can then exploit that by starting to raise fold. And then what will happen is people will start...
It's just an issue of balancing, really.
Yeah, so what will happen is people will start doing that, and then people will pick up on it and start shoving really wide, and then people will start balancing that range, and that's kind of what happens, and it's kind of just filtered down from...
Yeah, and that's what's happened with button dynamics now.
Yeah.
Since everyone 3-bets, like, certain 3-bet jams certain stacks, people have started limp 4-bet shoving.
Yeah.
At certain stack sizes, because you can't raise call off hands that have like okay equity, like Jack 10 suited and stuff, that you don't mind seeing a flop, but you can't raise call for value. So you now limp 4-bet shit.
Because it takes 3-bet jam shove out of their arsenal, basically.
Yeah. Because it's kind of like last in. It's kind of like the theory behind it is that like the last into the pot always has the advantage, really.
Yeah.
Because given the stack size, the last into the pot always gets either the most fold equity and gets a properly polarized range, whereas the other one's forced into bluff catching. So it's kind of like the relative stack size is kind of equating to like in position, out of position post flop, because they get the most. They get like to control the sizing.
Yeah. So we got a bit sidetracked there, but.
Yeah, we should get back to this.
3-bet jam, 10-7. I think it's fine.
Yeah, how deep are we?
What do we got? What's that, 14?
Yeah, well, he's going to be unbalanced in that he's going to raise fold at the bottom of his range and jam everything but the utmost top. So, I mean...
Yeah, I think that's okay.
I think it's fine. Because people just don't walk as much as they should.
Yeah, and
he'll have 2-3 off there and raise fold it instead of walking it.
Yeah, and obviously this is super standard. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. So a limp, and we have 15 bigs. So I'm pretty happy with shipping. That's fine. We get called by queens and we get there. But that's completely fine. I mean, unless you have a specific read that he's limping his huge hands. I mean, obviously you should be noting this now, but readless, it's more often than not completely nothing.
He's going to limp fold more often, like, unless he's got, like, okay stats, like, and he's just doing it to induce. Like, if he's never limping and he's raising, like, 21-20 and looks decent, then I think it's a good spot to exploit fold. But
yeah,
barring that, I don't think there's any way we can even let that slide.
Okay, so let's just go back here. We now have 33, and we open.
I'm probably just folding pre.
Yeah, we've got.
This is such an awkward stack to play.
We've got two stacks that we have to call off, which is kind of sucky, and we're not really deep enough that we can get a couple of barrels in, and it's without hurting our stack too much.
Yeah, and we just spewed off the hand. Well, didn't spew off. We made a fine shove, but it looks like we spewed off a few hands ago. So people are just going to give us way less respect.
Yeah.
Like we no longer have fold equity against like ace 10 in middle position now.
Yeah.
And like the fold equity is really what makes opening these kind of hands in early position profitable.
Yeah.
They're not profitable to play against our opponent's ranges when they don't fold that much.
Yeah. See, now we're in a really tough spot where we're out of position and the stacked pot's getting like, what's that, 2 now? 1.8.
Yeah.
And it's really
I'm
tough.
okay. I'm probably... Yeah, it's an alright fold to c-bet. But the 10s just want... Like, 10s and jacks just smack flat in ranges so much.
Yeah.
And then just check fold turn. Like... 3-way, I almost just want to check give up.
Yeah, same.
Especially with our stack, because, like, losing those c-bets, like, hurts us a lot. Shipping?
I'm shipping.
Shipping, barring him being, like, anything with a 0% 3-bet.
Yeah.
Over a decent size.
I mean, but that's a decent sizing, so...
He looks decent, so he can polarize.
That's not a fish sizing, so...
Yeah.
Just going by that, I would probably ship. And now we got 25, so we're down to like...
And now we're folding back into the awkward stack stages again.
Yeah.
Now we're at 20 because the blinds just went up.
Okay.
Shipping here.
Yeah, this is a good spot to ship again.
Flats.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hoping that French Fist isn't inducing.
Which he was.
But he was.
So I'm just going to scope him because there's a fair chance he's actually pretty good. Because that's...
Yeah, well, the name gives it a not like hint.
Yeah.
He's not French, and he's not.
Yeah, average stake $50, profit 26k. So yeah, I mean, this is just kind of whatever. I like the spot still. As long as we didn't really see that he was capable of doing that, it's a good play by him. He's just pretty much owned us. So good game him, really.
Yeah.
Alright, so I think that's it. So I think we finished in about 40th, so it's a pretty decent run. General comments, mate?
Okay. I think you need to tighten your opening range from early position, and I think you need to drop the bluff range out a bit and widen your value range in spots. I think you need to c-bet more for value, for thinner value. I think you need to c-bet for bet for value against draws on a lot of turns. I think you need to check give up more on flops that smack their range and we have no backdoor equity.
Have you been writing this down?
No.
It's good.
It's off the top of my head.
It's good, man.
What else? I think you need to consider changing your thoughts on 3-betting less than 20 bigs because it's effectively handcuffing yourself.
Well, even there was a couple of spots where there was good restore spots that weren't taken either, and it meant that we went from 30 down to under 20 very quickly. So
yeah, and we seem to kind of have two gears. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, that you're right. I was about to say that. Basically, we're either in fold mode, and then we got down to 15 and went, shit, we better start shoving again. Whereas there was a couple of spots where we had, say, 22 bigs, where finding a good restore spot with 22 bigs means we're adding like another 4 big lines to our stack by picking up the open and then the blinds and antes. So they're really the spots that I think that's nearly the most critical thing to keep your stack afloat, because that just doing that gives you 2 more orbits until you're back down to 22 bigs again.
And I also think that we need to kind of just evaluate flop texture a bit more.
Yeah.
And we have to we should consider what we do. We open a shit ton of hands, but we very, very rarely flat any hands in position. We played over 90% of the hands out of position in this tournament, which just makes stuff way harder.
Yeah,
like we're not when we 3-bet, we're usually 3-betting out of position from the blinds, like more than we should be compared to the button cutoff hijack, and we also tend to 3-bet early position openers more than we do late, which.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that too. You there, mate? Oh, I think we've lost Tom. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's it. Anyway, I think hopefully that was some pretty decent. You got some pretty decent value out of that. So yeah, thanks. This has been Bennymacca and Sir Duggan. Cheers, guys. See ya.